Hi, everybody. Welcome to How to Stay Up When the News Has Got You Down. The news about the election is encouraging. The news coverage is another thing. You are not imagining it. Something is really wrong. We're literally contending with the possible end of American democracy, and there is more coverage of Biden's age than about Trump's lies, his increasingly authoritarian plans, and his promotion of violence. Political journalism has failed to give Americans an accurate portrait of the stakes of this election. Recently in Politico, a story about a poll that had found Biden leading Trump 49 to 45 ran with the title, "Nearly 70% of voters say Biden is too old to serve again." When Joe Biden won the South Carolina Democratic Party weeks ago with 96% of the vote, the New York Times called his victory, quote, "an uncertain measure of wider enthusiasm." But when Trump won with only 60% of the vote in the GOP South Carolina primary, the Times proclaimed Trump delivered a crushing blow to Nikki Haley. Readers need to demand better, and they are. A story in the New York Times about Biden's loan forgiveness efforts ran initially with the title, "A Beleaguered Biden Chips Away at Student Loan Debt Bit by Bit." But later that day, the headline had changed to the more accurate, "Biden Chips Away at Student Loan Debt Bit by Bit," amid high expectations. The substance of the article was the same, but one headline suggests that Biden is beleaguered, while another suggests he is working diligently to deliver on his promises. There are some concrete macro things we can do to counter the bad news people are getting. Invest in good media and continue the pressure on news outlets to get back to real news. We are seeing a nascent pro-democracy, anti-Trump media like Courier News gaining traction. A lot of us here have large networks, and in general, CGB folks have more influence and are taken more seriously than the average person. So we can influence our own networks and work to keep journalists accountable. Still, we can't control all that is out there, including the social media that is increasingly where Americans get their news and form their beliefs. But what I think CGB can do to be most helpful to all you doom scrollers out there is to steer you to news that cuts through the noise and honestly points out the real evidence that we can win the elections in 2024, and to provide that evidence in our newsletters and in our Facebook group. So I want to give you the good news as I see it and point you to the resources we have created to help you both find the good news and know how to spread it effectively. I feel like, especially since the State of the Union, the news just keeps getting better for us. A large part of my optimism comes from the news I take in every day. I read the usual papers, but I read and listen to the analysts I think have most often gotten it right. Those who accurately predicted there would be no red wave in 2022. I encourage all of you to listen to podcasts and to subscribe to people on Substack who are good at sorting through the information. In particular, as many of you know, I'm a fan of Simon Rosenberg. I also get uplift from Joe Trippi and Heather Cox Richardson. I listen to podcasts while I brush my teeth, work out at the gym. It is so much better than doom scrolling. I'm going to take you to the webpage we've created for you called How to Stay Informed. Here we go. So under our resources tab, you'll see How to Stay Informed. And there we have collected a list of newsletters and podcasts for you to look at. We have ones on political analysis and forecasting the results and how to communicate. And then we have our optimistic news. Here's where you can find the newsletters that will give you accurate but upbeat real news about the election. I love the Joe Trippi show. And on social media, we have people that you can follow. You can also track the court cases and voter protection efforts. I also try to attend Zoom events where I can hear from our candidates directly. It's where I realize over and over that most of the people we're working to elect really care about our democracy and are in it for the right reasons. So many have truly inspiring stories of how they got to where they are. It restores my faith in our democracy. And because of what I pay attention to, I have a long list of why I am optimistic about our chances in 2024. I'm going to share a little of that and then take you to another webpage we have for you. So, Sleepy Joe is now being called Jacked Up Joe. Biden, the DNC, and all the Democratic senators, except for one, are significantly outraising their Republican counterparts in both small dollar donations and PAC money. Donations are also an indication of voter commitment to our candidates. This means that we can staff up on the ground operations and reach more voters. Trump's takeover and gutting of the RNC means Republicans are not in good shape to run a ground game in the critical states. Biden opened 100 offices in swing states in March. Meanwhile, the Trump campaign and the RNC are closing offices and cutting staff, leaving them with no ground game in the critical battleground states that will decide this election. This week alone, Republicans sold their Arizona headquarters for cash, and they revealed that they have zero presence in Pennsylvania, Michigan, and North Carolina. Democrats continue to outperform the polls, winning special elections by margins much greater than predicted, like Suozzi flipping George Santos's seat in New York 3, moving us one step closer to taking back the House. We just won an election for the Alabama state legislature by 25 points when polling suggested a tie. Speaking of polling, the thing that seems to have the strongest grip on our psyches, it is not predictive now of outcomes in November. That doesn't mean to toss it out entirely, but we must look at polls in context as part of the many indicators we should follow. Overall, polls done right before primaries have so far overestimated Trump's support and underestimated Biden's. In Michigan, for example, the last polling average before the primary predicted that Trump would win with a margin of 57 points. His actual margin of victory was 42, a 15-point underperformance. Similar things happen in New Hampshire and South Carolina. The case Republicans are making against Biden is evaporating. Crime is trending way down. The Democrats are the party working to control the situation at the border. The economy, and more important, voters' perception of their personal economic well-being is trending up. In March, consumers' views about their current personal finances rose to the highest level in over 2 years, while their present outlook for the economy improved to the best since July 2021. The MAGA impeachment efforts of the so-called Biden crime family failed and were revealed to be essentially the work of a Russian disinformation agent. We keep winning when abortion is on the ballot, and there are likely to be abortion-related ballot initiatives in Arizona, Nevada, Florida, and Montana. Remember that people who voted for Trump in 2020 did so before the January 6th insurrection and before Dobbs. The party who gets to run on freedom and against extremism usually wins, and that's us. Republicans also continue to nominate MAGA candidates over more electable candidates. The chance of us holding the Senate seat in Ohio just got better, and North Carolina is back on the map as a state we could flip. As people learn more about Biden, they like him more. As people learn more about Trump, that he is an adjudicated rapist, committed the greatest American security breach in history, where he stole American secrets, shared them, and lied to the FBI, that he is responsible for ending Roe, that he led an armed attack and promised to end democracy. that his campaign is really just a project to keep him out of jail. Now, the Republican Congress, led by Mike Johnson, has accomplished almost nothing and has had to rely on Democrats to bail them out for anything substantive to get through. They are a fractured clown show at this point, which may work to re-elect members in the gerrymandered districts, but is likely to kill their chances of holding on to any swing district seats like the 17 held in districts that Biden won in 2020. Republicans are leaving Congress, narrowing their majority even further. Wisconsin Representative Mike Gallagher announced his departure date of April 19th, which was essentially giving the finger to his colleagues, because any resignations after the middle of April mean there will not be a special election to fill his seat before November. This is happening at the same time that prominent Republicans are announcing they can't support Trump. Mike Pence, Dick Cheney, John Kelly, John Bolton, Mitt Romney, and Lisa Murkowski, who may even leave the party. We've never seen anything like that before. I could go on and on, truly, but let me show you 2 more pages we have on our website to help you spread the good news. They're called Biden's Big Wins and How to Talk to Voters. And then we'll have a discussion where I hope you'll share your strategies for being upbeat as well. So let me share my screen again. We have put together a page called Biden's Big Wins, and basically it gives you information on all the things he's accomplished, from job and opportunity increases and what the economy is doing and abortion and health insurance, and it goes on and on. This is to give you talking points for when someone says to you, I don't think Biden's accomplished anything. And it also feels really good to read this list, and we can see that our president has really managed to accomplish a lot. And then the final page I want to show you is one called How to Inspire Voters. All these pages can be found by going to the Resources tab on our website. This page is about how to message. There are videos explaining the process for being the most persuasive to voters. It's based a lot on Anat Shenker-Osorio's work and the work of others. So I really encourage you to get familiar with it and learn these tactics so that we can win. And I will leave it there and now open it up for questions and conversation.